The Man Who Returned Twice. The morning after Thomas Wren's second disappearance, Deputy Claire Halloway stood alone at the cliff's edge. The sea was calm now, eerily so. She stared at the lighthouse door, which hung open, creaking in the wind. She hadn't believed the stories growing up. Everyone in Elbridge had some version of the tale. Thomas Wren, the vanished keeper, the ghost man who came back untouched by time. But she had spoken to him, shared tea with him. He'd looked at her with a quiet sorrow, his voice rough like old ropes. "The sea never forgets what it's given," he'd said once, tracing a fingertip along a knot in his wooden table. "But it does remember what it's owed." Claire walked into the lighthouse. The dust was gone. It had been lived in. A journal lay on the desk, its pages warped by salt air. The final entry chilled her. April 12th. They're calling again, louder than before. I thought I bought more time. I was wrong. If someone finds this, don't listen to the whispers. Don't go near the rocks at low tide. And whatever you do, never light the lamp after dark. She looked up slowly. The lamp was glowing. Not brightly, just a faint, flickering pulse like a heartbeat. It hadn't been wired to work in years. Outside, the sea fog thickened. Back in town, strange things began to happen. Dead fish washing up in impossible patterns, circles, spirals. Boats that went out for the day came back empty, floating adrift. People began hearing voices near the cliffs, their own names whispered on the wind. An old woman named Edna Miller, who'd lived through Thomas's first disappearance, pulled Claire aside one day in the diner. "You have his eyes," Edna whispered. "You said he looked young still. Maybe that's 'cause time don't pass the same for them." Claire frowned. "For who?" Edna's hands trembled as she reached into her coat and slid a faded photo onto the table. It was of Thomas, much younger, clearly taken decades ago. But beside him stood a woman who looked exactly like Claire. "That's your grandmother, yes, but before she was Helen, she was Elaine Wren." His sister something turned over in Claire's gut. That night she returned to the lighthouse. The journal was gone. In its place, on the floor where the light met the dark, was a single seashell, white as bone, dry despite the damp. When she picked it up and held it to her ear, there was no sound of the ocean. Only a voice, low and calm and painfully familiar. "Claire, it's not over. You have to come back, just once, before the tide turns."